With or without a coal crisis, it's not at all unusual to find somebody on the bitterly cold beach just outside Hartlepool grubbing for coal. There are freak deposits in the sand here, and long before anybody talked about an energy crisis, some people in this cheerless northern town learned the hard way that if you wanted fuel, you had to go out and scratch for it. How then is Hartlepool, the town which has always been dogged by unemployment and deprivation, standing up to the effects of the drastic cutback in working hours? Well, at first sight, reasonably well. In what used to be the old shipyards, about 2,500 men are still fully employed because they're now building oil rigs for the North Sea. In fact, up until the start of the three-day week, things for once seemed to be on the mend for Hartlepool. The unemployment figure of over 10% a year ago had been pulled back to just half of that. People were beginning to take a pride in the place again. And there are still some who think that the future isn't entirely dismal.
Well, Hartlepool is a pretty resilient town. It's needed to be over the years. We've got a pretty diversified pattern of industry now, which means that we've got a fair amount of continuous process plants who are doing all right. The ones who are going on to the three-day week are managing so far very well indeed. They are one or two of the smaller firms who perhaps are in some difficulties, but by and large, I'm quite happy about the situation. A lot of interest still being shown in this town by firms who are wanting to expand and looking towards the northeast, and this, I think, is a very hopeful and encouraging sign.
But there have been some immediate casualties, and they're not the sort of people you'd expect to find in an earthy northern town. Marge Gendall and Linda Buchanan had just landed a job with a television company organising promotions for goods advertised on TV. The cutback in television hours meant the job simply vanished, and to them, it's a real loss. Just like industry, the bigger shops in Hartlepool are feeling the pinch, but getting by. It's the little man in the corner shop who's having to cope with a disturbing fall in trade. People like Laurie Dunn. He bought his chop with a handshake when he left the railways, thinking it would be a totally secure living. But on one day this week, his takings were down £10 compared with the same day last year. But like his customers, he seems to be resigned to it.
All the people that come in here, they don't seem to moan about it. They don't seem to, bitch like people do. Sympathise with the miners. But I think as many people sympathise with the government. That, they've got a difficult job to do. The miners have a case, fair enough. But we find that people have learned to accept this. And practically everyone will say, well, what can we do? We've got to get on with the job.
No matter who's to blame, you don't have to look very far to find where the three-day week is starting to bite. It's among the lighter engineering firms who moved to Hartlepool, bringing new jobs with them. In factories like these, about 4,000 people are directly affected so far. And it hurts.
Well, we a bit short of money now, I think about £15 a week.
15?
Yeah.
What would your
At least 15.
What would your normal take home be?
About £31. I only took 15 home last week.
What have you had to cut out as a result of that?
Well, drinking and, I like to drink now and again and I like to enjoy myself. But I have to stay in now.
Well, it's affecting us in earnings very much.
How much would you say?
Well, somewhere in the region of £20.
£20 loss?
A week, yeah.
What, all of you?
Yes, easy.
What would be your normal earnings then?
Well, it differs on about the £40 mark.
How long do you reckon you could stand a drop of £20 a week?
Well, no one can say how long you can stand anything.
Because you won't have to.
You just make do with what you've got.
Well, drastically, it's a cut of about £10 a week.
From how much?
From 25 to 15.
How long would you be able to exist losing £15 a week?
Oh, not very long, I don't think.
Savings?
No, I have no savings off. No, I drew all my savings out through this, I had to.
The puzzling thing about Hartlepool is that there seems to be no anger in the air against anybody. Just a sort of rueful acceptance that people have got to scrape along as best they can. But beneath that, there's the old nagging worry.
With the coming of the North Sea oil discoveries, employment was getting better in the town. We've got various firms in connection with North Sea oil coming into the town, and employment prospects were getting better. But now with the 3-day week, with a further unemployment piled on the one we have already, it's becoming very worrying, and the town has a feeling that they may sink back into the position that they were some years ago.
It would be too strong to say that Hartlepool is a defeatist town, but you can't escape the feeling that because things have been so harsh in the past, people are already thinking that the improvement they seem to be enjoying was just too good to last.